At this time, Axel was unaware that the yellow puppy by his side had consumed thousands of 9-pattern cyan pills and was evolving towards beast. Who knows, one day it might give him a surprise. Gianna and Atlas actually came to Uni Auction House. Gianna knows. There will be 2 9-pattern 3rd grade pills auctioned off today. At that moment, she only felt that her 2 disciples were really lucky. This time, she went out with Atlas to purchase spiritual herbs. They actually came across the never-before-seen 9-pattern cyan pill. These 2 pills brought enormous benefits to the 2 of them. She plans to buy it at any cost for them. Axel will definitely hug his own legs tightly by then. He will be grateful to her. Just thinking about the appearance of that kid being stepped on by her, this beauty master feels extremely pleased in his heart. On the other side, Landon finally saw his old friend. He was complaining about how he made a special trip and didn't see his friend's shadow all morning. The old man in red clothes said mysteriously, "Landon, today our auction house branch received 2 special pill 3rd rank cyan pills. Guess what pattern they are?" "Is that so? If it took you the whole morning to handle them, they must be at least 7 patterns or above. Are they made by those old guys?" No. They are 9-pattern. And there are 2 of them. I don't know who refined them. They were delivered by a young man." Landon's hand paused. "Thomas, do you know what the young boy's name is?" "I don't know." The young boy didn't leave anything behind. He just said to collect the auction proceeds later, and then left. Landon didn't know why. A figure gradually came to mind. Thomas continued, saying that the young boy seemed to have no regard for these 2 pills at all. It's very likely that he came from some secluded sect or holy land. This moment, Axel's figure became clear in Landon's mind. No one else can do such spendthrift things except for him. So Landon got up and said to Thomas, "Come, I'll take you to see someone. My young miss has established a sect. I will take you to meet her direct disciple Thomas," Landon said. Thomas was puzzled. What's so special about meeting a direct disciple? Landon replied with a meaningful yet helpless expression. "You wouldn't understand." In no time, the 2 of them arrived at Axel's residence. However, they knocked on the door for a long time, but no one answered. Landon thought to himself, a qualified cultivator can waste precious time on sleeping. He kicked, and the door flew open. The moment the door opened, the 2 old men were stunned on the spot. "I saw the pill in the dog bowl on the table." "Isn't the pill scattered all over the floor the 9-pattern 3rd grade pill that Thomas mentioned?" At this time, Axel also woke up. He asked Landon in a daze how he got here. At this moment, he lowered his head to find that the yellow puppy, who should have been eating the pill for him, was now sleeping more peacefully than himself. He was instantly enraged. "Stupid dog, did you finish eating those pills and then fall asleep?" But who knew the puppy actually turned its nose up at the food. It even disdainfully kicked the pills aside. This scene immediately left the 2 old men stunned. That is the pill that oneself eagerly wants to preserve as a family heirloom for future generations. It was actually rejected by a dog. At this moment, Landon noticed something wrong with this yellow puppy. The spirit energy of heaven and earth actually automatically entered its body. Within a year, it can become a beast, but its body does not have the bloodline of a beast. It transforms on its own. Thomas realized where the problem originated. He hurriedly asked Axel how many cyan pills he had given Yellow Puppy. Axel looked puzzled. He pondered for a moment and replied, "I think it was not many, maybe around 2,000. Old man in red clothes was completely unsettled by this. He sprayed 10 liters of blood wildly. He grabbed Landon and roared furiously. "That's 2,000 pills. Such precious pills were actually fed to the dogs. Landon, as a disciple of your astral soul sect, you should take care of him. Landon is helpless. How can I manage this? This kid is so rich and powerful that I even work for him. How can I manage?" Old man in red clothes doesn't believe it. A strong figure like you, at the third layer of the Elder Tribulation realm among the 8 elders of the Star Peak sect, would actually work for a disciple of your own sect. Landon explained. I didn't want to either, but the amount he offered was just too much. At this moment, Axel stepped forward. Landon, could you help me with a favor? According to the usual practice, I'll give you 100,000 superior spiritual stones. Puppy is picky, and has over 7,000 pills left that need to be eaten quickly. Remembering the last time when Landon crazily threw 9,000 talismans, he hurriedly asked, How many pills are left, Axel? Not many, not many, Axel replied. Upon hearing this, Landon, with great righteousness, said, In that case, come on over. The next moment, Axel directly poured out 7,000 pills, which shocked the 2 old men to the core. Landon was speechless. He shouldn't have trusted this kid's trick. But in front of him were the top-quality 9-pattern pills, not to mention the 100,000 superior spiritual stones. So, a glint of gold shimmered in Landon's eyes. He immediately began to eat voraciously. Axel also grumbled at Yellow Puppy. You better eat quickly, or else I'll stew you. So Thomas saw a scene of a person and a dog devouring pills crazily. This scene made Thomas lose his sense of values. What on earth has happened to this world? Are they all going crazy? At this moment, Axel is cheering on Landon. Are you going to be outperformed even by a dog? Landon didn't expect the 9-pattern pill to taste so delicious. It's ineffective when he eats it now. He also took the 5-pattern pill when he was young. At that time, he emptied his savings for that pill, which cost him his entire family fortune of 10 years. But compared to this 9-pattern, that pill is simply garbage. Landon is crying right now. It's really a case of being born at the wrong time. If it were 60 years ago when he was young. If he had this fortune, Axel saw Landon crying and couldn't believe it. He quickly said, It's okay, Landon. If you can't eat it, forget it. I won't take away a single spirit stone from your 100,000. Thomas said, Young man, you wouldn't understand. If we could have eaten such pills back then, we would probably have already crossed the 9th layer Thunder Tribulation and ascended by now. We would definitely not be as hopeless as we are now. They may appear glamorous on the surface, but who knows what lies beneath. Once the next Thunder Tribulation arrives, they will not be able to resist it. They will die. Axel instantly understood. He asked Thomas if he wanted to join for a meal. Of course, I won't let seniors help for free. The reward is also 100,000 superior spiritual stones. As soon as Thomas heard this, his tears stopped instantly. He refused. I am not a member of the Astral Soul sect. This might not be appropriate. He said, no, but his hands couldn't help moving. An hour passed. Axel looked at the remaining thousands of pills. He sighed that the combat power of 2 people and a dog was still not enough. At this time, Landon asked Axel, The 2 pills at the auction house are also yours, right? Axel said yes. He couldn't believe that 1 pill could be sold for 10,000 inferior spiritual stones. He really didn't know who would be the sucker to buy it. This left Thomas speechless. 1 million would even be considered a low price. At this moment, sect leader Gianna has already left the auction house. She sensed that Axel and Landon are in the guest rooms of this hotel. Atlas is excited and eager to show Axel what they have captured this time. In an instant, he rushed up and shouted, Axel, senior brother, come and see what Master has captured for us. Gianna looked proud and said, So what if you have money? Pills of this level are priceless. When they reached the door, Gianna asked Atlas why he wasn't going in. Atlas shakily raised his hand and pointed inside. 3 people and a dog were actually eating pills, and the puppy even ate until he threw up. When Gianna saw this scene, her 3 views, together with her senses and worldview, all collapsed. This moment was the darkest moment of her life. She couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood. Landon and the others also noticed Gianna's arrival. Pill Axel, who fell out of the box, was actually the one who was wronged. Gianna is disheartened. In the end, she still paid the price for the mistake. She couldn't bear the thought that the rare pill she had fought tooth and nail for at the auction house was now being used to feed a dog here. She thought she could turn the tables this time. She never expected to lose even her underwear. Landon chuckled. Young miss, your intentions are already sufficient. After all, you are also doing it for their own good. At this point, Axel said, if you want to eat the Master Atlas pill, go ahead. Atlas's mouth started watering. Now, the effect of the 9-pattern cyan pill on him is really significant. Axel told junior brother to eat as much as he wants. You can boldly go for it with confidence. Atlas yelled about his damn appetite. Give it all you've got today. When fortune suddenly visits, be sure to grab it with rough hands. Sect leader Gianna is speechless about this. Is he eating so fast because he's in a hurry to reincarnate? Suddenly Atlas saw a few pills fall off the table. And they fell right in front of Puppy, leaving Puppy puzzled. Atlas shouted, this kind of pill is too powerful for any beast to resist. If it is eaten by a dog, it would be a waste. He would be heartbroken. But in the next moment, the scene changed abruptly. Puppy didn't even look at it, instead kicking the pills away with a disdainful smile. Humph. Even dogs won't eat this. I'll just step on it. Atlas split open on the spot. Has the era changed? Thomas walked up to Gianna and said, as the sect leader, I help others with their money and tasks. Some things are better left unsaid, but as a master, you still need to properly discipline your disciple. This kid actually fed 2009 pattern pills to the dog. Simply put, it's a waste of precious and rare treasures. Axel mocked. This is totally reasonable. The puppy can't eat them fast anyway. When Atlas picked up the puppy, it actually ate 2,000 pills. He's living worse than a dog. Axel told the three not to waste time and hurry up to eat. He was very worried about the progress. Gianna sat across from them, appearing calm and composed. She was speechless. How could she have attracted such a disciple? An hour later, the three men felt as if they had been pregnant for 10 months. They all collapsed and couldn't eat anymore. They shouted, no more, we can't eat anymore. Axel knew that their fighting strength was indeed insufficient. Now there are still 2,000 pills left. Then he turned his head and looked at the beauty sect leader. Gianna refused on the spot. She absolutely would not eat it. Axel told her not to worry about those details. You will get used to it after eating it a few more times. Gianna said that she spent a lot of money to purchase these cyan pills and planned to bring them back to give to her father's sect. It will definitely help the sect's power to soar. Axel immediately refused. These are all products of the system spendthrift and can only be consumed, not used for trade. Gianna thinks she bid too low. She angrily slammed the table and said she could increase the price tenfold. This made the three people very embarrassed. Do you think he looks like someone who is short of money? Gianna also realized that she had lost her composure. As a master, she shouldn't have discussed money with a disciple. Besides, this guy is simply filthy rich. But the next moment, she was stunned. Axel was holding a pill and arranging roses on a plate. He asked Master to taste this rose-flavored 9-pattern pill. As expected, girls all like flowers. A move worked. Gianna picked up a pill and examined it carefully. A blush appeared on her face. She even began to play with her hair, looking like she had something in mind for tonight. Half an hour later, several people finally tearfully finished eating the pill. Atlas passed out directly after eating, falling unconscious to the ground. Congratulations to host Spendthrift for successfully earning 300 Spendthrift points. Congratulations to host for depleting all of today's Spendthrift products. A reward of 1,000 Spendthrift points has been granted. The system rewards 3 9th-rank 9-leaf Soul Rebirth herbs and 5 9th-rank Golden Silkworm Star Glimmering stones. Obtain reward items to be consumed in a spendthrift manner. They will not obtain a large amount of spendthrift point hosts for unrestricted use. Axel looked at this time not only rewarding spendthrift points, but also other rewards. Gianna, who ate the pill until her mouth went numb, asked Landon, "Do you think my sect still needs to continue?" She cultivates without guidance, and doesn't need any resources from the sect. She even often asks to help the direct disciple with tasks. Landon once doubted if Axel was not a disciple of the sect but rather the sect's god of wealth. Suddenly, Axel whispered to Thomas, "You are a 9th rank pill master. Do you know about the 9th rank 9-leaf rebirth herb?" Landon and Gianna were speechless. He had started again. Upon hearing about the rebirth herb, Thomas instantly exploded. "I am extremely familiar with that thing." This startled Axel. Those who didn't know might have thought the old man was about to start eating children. Thomas shouted, "The rebirth herb of 9-leaf is a legendary spiritual herb. Each leaf of it represents its medicinal value. Not to mention the 9-leaf, he has not even seen the 1-leaf version. Moreover, the rebirth herb is an essential herb for making the rebirth pill. As long as you take it within 24 hours, even if your soul goes to the underworld, you can slap King Yan's big ears on the spot. Then, you can return from the underworld in a fair and square manner." Without exaggeration, this kind of pill is definitely the most desired item for any tribulation survivor. With this soul-protecting pill, even if they fail in their tribulation crossing and their physical body is destroyed, at least their soul can remain. They can then find a way to rebuild their body later. Thomas spoke up, "Why are you suddenly asking about this?" Landon immediately realized that something was wrong. He dared to ask, "If he dares to have it, then I dare too." "Thomas, you should be familiar with bamboo demon grass, white soul flower, and purple thunder fruit, right?" Of course, these 3 types of spiritual herbs always cause intense competition whenever they appear, leading to fierce battles. These 3 types of spiritual herbs are very unfortunate. They were used by him for soaking his feet just yesterday. Thomas looked pale as Landon intentionally inquired, "The Axel 9-leaf rebirth herb is very precious. You are not allowed to use it for soaking your feet." Axel took out the herbs and said he had 3 plants. He took one to soak his feet. What's wrong with that? Thomas was almost shocked when he heard it. He almost lost his expression. This is absolutely unacceptable. You actually have 3 9-leaf rebirth herbs in your hands. Oh my god. Today, no matter what it takes, I must get these 3 rebirth herbs, even if it means sacrificing myself and this broken and worn-out body of mine. Axel was scolded from head to toe. If used for soaking feet, you would simply be considered insane. Suddenly, Axel rummaged around and arrived at Gianna's side. He picked out a 9-leaf rebirth herb and said, "Master, this is my gift to show respect to you." This left Gianna at a loss for words. He spent 100,000 spiritual stones to apprentice himself and 400,000 to give gifts. Now he's giving a sky-high priced rebirth herb. She can hardly imagine what future fortunes she will gain from Axel. She has already imagined scenes of Axel pursuing her. Axel uses a spendthrift means to make her give in to him resolutely. Instantly, she felt like a master being taken care of by a disciple. The moment she thought of this, she desperately made herself want to be reserved. This time, she must not take the 9-leaf rebirth herb. But when she thought about her happy later years, she might need the rebirth pill for future tribulations. She couldn't really reject this fortune. Axel was probably thinking of using the second 9-leaf rebirth herb to soak his feet, and no one could stop him. As for the third one, he mentioned Landon and said, "As long as you do more physical work, it will be yours sooner or later." Landon instantly turned into Axel's loyal simp. At this time, a hand was placed on Axel's shoulder and asked, "Is it true that as long as you do the physical work well, you will have a chance to obtain the 9-leaf rebirth herb?" The next moment, Axel was stunned. Thomas actually came over to disgust him. The old man in his 80s even took off his clothes in public and showed off his muscles. This made skinny Landon instantly reprimand. "Thomas, what do you mean? You snatched the business and did it right in front of me." At this moment, Thomas and Landon are fighting over a 9-leaf rebirth herb. Their 50-year friendship is completely shattered. Atlas is surprised to find that senior brother actually wants to use the 9-leaf rebirth herb to soak his feet. He wonders whether he should ask senior brother to let him drink the foot bath water instead. Suddenly, Thomas moved his graceful posture and came to Gianna's side. Today, I, Thomas, want to surrender. I have floated through half of my life. I only regret not joining the sect. If you don't mind, I am willing to join the sect and seek a position as an elder. Gianna tells him not to be ridiculous. He is a 9th-rank pill master and the owner of the Uni auction house in the tribulation realm of the Mystic Heaven continent. Yet he actually wants to join her small sect. Thomas says it's true. He really wants to join. Thomas chuckled and said, "If you disagree, I'll just go talk to your father." Axel just casually took it out. It was a rare spiritual herb called 9-pattern pill. This shows that he doesn't really value this item. He must have even more incredible things in his hands. Gianna asked, "If Thomas joins our sect, how should we deal with the auction house?" "It's simple. I will let my incompetent son manage it." Landon was so angry that his blue veins bulged, but he was too powerless to oppose it. Thomas came over and sneered, "I just love watching you trying to do something but failing. Who knows whose that rebirth herb will be in the future?" At this moment, Gianna has already begun to doubt her original goal. She originally wanted to cultivate well, ascend to the upper realm, and seek revenge by killing everyone. But now the sect has inexplicably gained 2 more disciples, and today they added a 9th-rank pill master. At this moment, Axel spoke up and asked, "Does anyone here know about the golden silkworm star glimmering stone?" Thomas instantly transformed into a completely different person upon hearing this. "Do you have the golden silkworm star glimmering stone?" Even Landon and Gianna had murderous looks in their eyes. This made Axel feel a chill down his spine for the first time. He trembled as he spoke, saying he was just asking casually. If he had just taken it out, these 3 might really have killed to silence him. But how could these 3 be so easily fooled? Axel definitely has the golden silkworm star glimmering stone in his hands. Atlas asked senior brother Landon what his background was. He said he's extremely wealthy. At this moment, the spiritual gem around Gianna's waist lit up. She immediately picked up the spiritual gem. It was a message from the sect. Gianna asked everyone to go back immediately. Landon inquired if something had happened. She replied, "My father is coming. He should be coming to inspect the sect." 5 hours later, at the peak of Astral Soul's sect. When several people arrived, a figure in black was already standing at the entrance of the sect in the dark night. Gianna looked nervous and said, "Father, I'm back." The middle-aged man said with a dark expression, "Gianna, you have disappointed me." For a moment, the terrifying silence filled the scene. A strict atmosphere permeated the air, and everyone dared not take a breath. Gianna was surprised and asked her father, "How did you come?" His father shouted in disappointment, "You've let me down. You've disappointed me so much. Didn't your Astral Soul sect recruit disciples a few days ago? How come now no one is even in sight, not even a dog?" "I thought there would be a group of disciples coming to pay their respects. I brought 10,000 red envelopes for them. But now, I've waited for 5 hours at the sect, and not a single person has shown up." Gianna looked helpless. She didn't expect her father to come and inspect the sect just a few days after it opened. She immediately explained, "We just recruited 2 disciples, one named Axel and the other named Atlas." Luckily, she recruited 2 disciples, which could be considered as fulfilling her mission. It's just convenient to use them as a shield. Gianna immediately coquettishly said, "Look, I even took Axel in as a direct disciple." In the previous life, although she was the Empress Regnant, she had no father or mother. She was an orphan from a young age. In this life, letting her feel the love of parents. This makes Gianna cherish it very much. The sect leader carefully scrutinized this so-called direct disciple. He was very puzzled. This daughter of his has never cared about anything since childhood, only focusing on cultivation. How could she suddenly take in a disciple? He asked what Axel's spiritual root was. Since Axel doesn't have a spiritual root, Gianna truthfully answered that she hasn't discovered any innate abilities in him yet. Then what is his cultivation achievement? This time, Gianna whispered and told him. The sect leader spat out a mouthful of old blood after listening. Isn't he just a useless dog? How did he become a direct disciple after all? Axel said he spent 500,000 buying it. This makes the sect leader even more confused. You bought it with money. You can't be so dismissive of this sect that is not up to standard. He thinks his daughter's eyes are blinded by money. If she wants money, she can just ask her old man for it. Suddenly, Thomas brought a chair from somewhere. He asked Axel to sit down quickly. Don't stand too tired like this. Landon told him not to be too excessive. Is sect leader so shameless? He then brought tea for Axel to drink. The weather has turned cool now. Make sure you don't catch a cold. This critical hit feels like a direct hit. Landon, do you really think I don't exist? Are you still one of the 8 elders of my Star Peak sect? And Thomas from the auction house is also here. Gianna will explain the details in a few minutes. This made the sect leader's head spin. It's unbelievable that a dog could eat 2009 pattern pills. He's no ordinary disciple, he's like the god of wealth. Even if he were placed in the Star Peak sect, they would have to treat him like a master. Landon spoke up. Sect leader, we have long suspected that Axel is from. The sect leader made a hushing gesture. He indicated to Landon that there was no need to continue discussing Axel's situation. He mainly came today just to check on his daughter's sect. Now that everything is fine with her, he can rest assured. He asked the 2 old men to leave first. He wanted to chat with his daughter about family matters. Meanwhile, inside Axel's dormitory, junior brother Atlas happily carried over the foot basin. He asked senior brother to soak first and wait until senior brother is done soaking. Whatever you do, don't pour out the water, he wants to taste it. Axel told him that senior brother is not a stingy person. Go bring another basin of water. Let's split that 9th rank rebirth herb in half, which made junior brother Atlas burst into tears instantly. And on the roof of the dormitory, 2 figures are secretly chiseling the wall to sneak a peek. Landon's face has turned black. Axel is actually using the 9-leaf rebirth herb for foot soaking. Thomas can hardly endure seeing this scene. Axel's behavior is just outrageous. In the morning, Axel is full of energy. It turns out that soaking his feet with the 9-leaf rebirth herb last night was really effective. He feels much stronger now. This rare spiritual herb is indeed excellent. It's a pity that only less than 1,000th of its medicinal properties were absorbed by soaking the feet in it. He then looked at his own panel. There are 2,500 spendthrift points left. Today's spendthrift product is the Yellow Springs Sword Intent Fragment, prized at 10,000 coins. Axel took out a piece and carefully examined it for a long time. He still didn't understand what this thing was. The next moment, he called Puppy over. Puppy walked happily and ran to Axel's side. Axel looked at the introduction of system. He said that as long as he touched his forehead lightly, the next moment, the Yellow Springs Sword Intent Fragment would be instantly absorbed by Puppy, and the surrounding spirit energy of the world would be filled with sword intent. Various scenes of martial arts inheritance appeared in Puppy's mind one after another. It made him completely engrossed in watching. Axel asked Puppy if he had just farted. Why does the Yellow Springs Sword Intent have no effect at all? He immediately asked System if this spendthrift product is mainly for consumption. Can he also use it himself, even though Puppy doesn't look any different? But this Yellow Springs Sword Intent sounds very powerful at first listen. It must be a good thing. The system tells him that it's not that he can't use it. It's just that it will deduct a large amount of spendthrift points. And the phrase, a large amount, is also emphasized. Unfortunately, Axel could only hug Puppy and find a hidden place. At the same time, Gianna's father asked, Daughter, have you considered taking the 2 little ones to Heaven Battlefield for some training? Gianna also agreed as soon as she heard it. She can't teach these two people at all. She feels reassured about Axel going to Heaven Battlefield. As for Atlas, she's afraid that something unexpected might happen. Sect leader asked. Although Axel has a large number of treasures, he is ultimately just a mere mortal. Even the weakest beast and cultivator in the battlefield could easily kill him. Why are you more reassured about him? Gianna explained. Although Axel doesn't have spiritual roots, he is not a mere mortal. His strength is enough for self-preservation. Her father told her not to defend Axel. A mortal is still just a mortal. Gianna said that Axel has already opened his spirit sea, and it is a whopping 20 times larger than his own. The sect leader became even more incredulous. When you opened your spirit sea, you broke the sect's record. A spirit sea 20 times larger than yours is simply unbelievable. Just as the two were arguing, a shocking explosion of power sounded. This wave of power surprised both Gianna and her father. Even Atlas and Thomas felt it at the same time. A cold ancient voice echoed through Yellow Spring Road. At the bridge of departure, before the sword is drawn, lives are already lost. In an instant, several people rushed out of the sect. Gianna asked Landon, "Did you feel it too? Atlas can't come. He cannot withstand this terrifying sword intent." The sect leader shouted, "Landon, Thomas, I will be responsible for clearing the way. You guys protect me." They then saw that the person not far away was Axel. The next moment, the group of people all stood still in shock. Just see Axel actually playing frisbee with Puppy. Axel looked very serious, but Puppy seemed a bit abnormal. It was actually filled with Yellow Spring sword intent all over its body. They discovered that the Yellow Spring sword intent was actually emanating from a dog. If it weren't seen with their own eyes, who would believe it if they told others? Dogs can comprehend this extremely difficult and powerful sword intent. Gianna couldn't help it anymore. She asked Axel if this dog just realized sword intent by itself. Axel said, "How is that possible? It's a stupid dog. It was able to comprehend sword intent just because I fed it some sword intent fragments." The four of them were dumbfounded. The Yellow Spring sword intent was actually taken to feed a dog. If this gets out, who wouldn't give you a slap in the face? Axel suddenly realized that something seemed amiss. Grandmaster and Thomas's expressions are not quite right. Gianna explained that Yellow Spring sword intent is one of the most powerful types of sword intent in the world. It is extremely rare to obtain, even in the Heaven Battlefield. To acquire such a thing, one can only rely on fortune. You're the one who not only has it but also gave it to the dogs. When can you stop being so spendthrift? Axel asks where Heaven Battlefield is. Gianna tells him that her father is taking them there for training. The Mystic Heaven continent is just a lower realm world. As long as it's a lower realm, anyone can go to Heaven Battlefield, and the regions are divided based on the different realms. No one knows how this place appeared, but everyone knows that it contains fortunes such as spiritual treasures, imperial legacies, and resources for cultivation. But it is also quite dangerous in there. A slight misstep can lead to being taken down by the powerful creatures inside. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded. "Please go to the second layer Heaven Battlefield to kill 100 Chi Movement Realm Peak Beasts Axel, and check out the reward for this mission. Normally, it is 100 points, but this time it is a large number of spendthrift points. The reward is good, but he is just someone with cultivation achievements and no martial arts skills right now." The sect leader spoke up at this time and asked, "Axel, how much sword intent fragment did you just feed this dog? I see that this puppy's sword intent strength is comparable to that of a sword master. He can break through to the sword heart realm at any time." He remembered the last person who had the sword heart realm. Or perhaps it was the patriarch of Star Peak sect who secluded himself for hundreds of years. He just barely stepped into the threshold of the sword heart. The patriarch comprehended the Heaven Cold sword heart, which is completely in a different class compared to the Yellow Spring sword heart. Axel laughed and said it's not that many. Probably around 10,000 sword intent fragments. He fed 10,000 of them to Puppy, but it exhausted him. The next moment, he suddenly felt a chill on his back. He was being stared at fiercely by 4 people. They looked at him as if they were seeing a dead person. A group of people erupted completely. 10,000 pieces of Yellow Spring's sword intent fragment were taken to feed the dogs. Jian was insane and heartless. This is something that can cause havoc in the cultivation world with just one piece. And you actually took it to feed the dogs. Axel also realized it was wrong and quickly apologized. Next time, if there is something like this, be sure to ask for their help first. What's the matter with finding a puppy? Gianna asked her father to take the person away quickly. She was afraid she couldn't control herself. Slap this person to death. The sect leader lifted Axel and flew off on the spot. He said he would immediately send him back after finishing the task. He was also afraid he couldn't help but slap him to death. In midair, Axel asked, "Grandmaster, where are we heading now? Star Peak sect, your true sect?" He asked him and the other disciples to hurry to Heaven Battlefield. Axel asked, "Grandmaster, how strong is our sect? We don't even have a beast for pulling the carriage. If our sect is too poor, I'm willing to contribute. Can every senior and junior brother have enough to eat? Does the sect still need investment for construction and expansion?" The sect leader felt a headache listening to this. This person is almost talking about his own sect collapsing. The sect leader told him to shut up. Star Peak sect is rolling in wealth. We don't need anything. At night, the 2 of them arrived at the Cultivate. They requested 2 single rooms. Axel said, "Grandmaster, I'll pay for it." Lying on the bed, Axel pondered. He didn't know what tomorrow's spendthrift product would be. It's a lot of hard work to earn 1,000 spendthrift points every day. The next morning, Axel woke up and immediately opened the system panel to see today's spendthrift product. This time, it turned out to be 100,000 pieces of superior spiritual stone. Today's task will be much easier for him to handle. Axel, who has had a few experiences, was instantly full of confidence. He knew how to quickly spend all of them. The first step is to buy a martial art jar at the system store. According to the introduction of the spiritual herb jar, similarly, the martial art jar should also have a success rate of over 90%. He spent 100 spendthrift points. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the human-level superior martial art Fire Dragon Fist, currently loading. Axel proudly remarked that it was indeed as he analyzed. But wait, this Fire Dragon Fist. The system popped up to remind him. That's right. He needs to possess fire attribute spirit energy in order to use it. Axel was stunned. He's a waste without spiritual root. Where can he find fire attribute spirit energy? The system told him to clench his fist. Maybe he would have it. Sure enough, the next moment, Axel felt several strands of spirit energy swirling in his palm. He was truly incredulous. A trash without any spiritual root. He can actually convert the spirit energy in the Spirit Sea into attribute spirit energy. He did successfully cultivate the Fire Dragon Fist. At this moment, the Grandmaster asked Axel to get up. They should continue on their journey. Halfway through, the Grandmaster asked Axel why he was eating breakfast so slowly. Axel said that chewing slowly and savoring the food is good for both the body and mind. He's really into a healthy lifestyle. The next moment, the Grandmaster realized that something was wrong. He suddenly turned around and asked Axel what he was doing. Axel was tossing superior spiritual stones in large quantities, airdropping benefits from the sky, leaving fortune to those who are prepared. He immediately stopped pretending as well. He directly poured out all the spiritual stones. Grandmaster was very unhappy about this. Axel, although you are really powerful, spiritual stones are precious. You cannot waste them like this. Don't wait until one day you have nothing left and regret deeply. Axel asked Grandmaster, "Do you know what is the most painful thing in life?" Grandmaster answered his question seriously. Sword cultivators will feel pain for not being able to comprehend the true meaning of the sword, while pill masters will regret not being able to refine exceptional pills. Axel said, Grandmaster, my situation is different from theirs. What pains me the most is that when a person dies, they haven't spent all their money.